It's like we're rookies or something.
I know. It's like we're just starting out. All right, let's see. I do like the little intro before the intro, but we're never going to get around to that.
Well, you look the part, but let's see some of your moves.
Feeling free and it feels so right. Oh, time to do the things I like. Gonna see a princess, everything's alright. Oh, no job but an answer to. Ain't a fixture in the palace zoo. No, and since the carpet nights off me, I'm living life now that I'm free. Yeah, tell me get myself together. Now I got myself together. Now I made it through the weather. Better days are gonna get better. I'm so happy the current night is gone. I'm moving on. I'm so happy that it's over now. The pain is gone. I'm putting on my shades to cover up my eyes. I'm jumping in my ride. I'm heading out tonight. I'm solo. I'm hot solo. I'm hot solo. I'm hot solo. Solo. Picking up my plaster, putting it on my side. I'm jumping in my falcon, whoopie at my side. I'm solo. I'm hot solo. I'm hot solo. I'm hot solo. Solo.
Okay, I can see you have some skills, but now it's my turn.
Well, there we go. I got us. I have our Instagram working and our Facebook working, and I believe we never had a problem with our YouTube, which I probably shouldn't say out loud. But
Well, that can only mean one thing: is it's Wednesday and it's time for another flight on the Inflatable Falcon.
Right. So, Ken, let people know we're going to talk Star Wars on the Inflatable Falcon. This show is based on just having fun with Star Wars, and our name is based on the Inflatable Falcon from Magic Jump. I feel like we haven't mentioned Magic Jump enough in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, and when I'm not bouncing around on here with you or throughout the galaxy, you can listen to some of the older episodes that I've put out for the rambling Star Wars fan. And one of the newer shows that I'm involved with is Bounty Hunting Across the Galaxy with Todd and Ken.
And do you have any new previews? You just did. What did you just do? You did like the history of. Wait a minute. What was the last one you did on bounty hunting across the galaxy?
Oh, the last one that Todd and I recorded, we did a brief history on the Sith Wars.
Oh, okay,
and,
right,
and Mandalore the Indomitable. So we looked at a little bit of the Mandalorian lore through the comic books and things like that. It was actually, I thought it was a pretty fun episode. Todd put a lot of effort into that one.
Very good. Well, and you can find me here or producing Zoe's podcast, Star Wars Geek Girl. Just put one up today. So wherever you're listening to this, unless you're watching it on YouTube, but if you're listening to this on a podcast catcher of your choice, you can find Star Wars Geek Girl. Coming up this October, it's their 9-year anniversary of podcasting. So,
are they going to do a retrospective review of the 9 years?
I have things in the works, but who knows? Their episode 300 is going to fall around that time because the one I just put up, I think, was 296.
That's very cool.
So, yeah. So that's I mean, now if they should be closer to 500, if they would have been not slacking off during their teenage years when they were going through school and college.
Yeah, but hold on a second. Say that number out loud again. Though. Not the one that could have been, but the actual one.
296.
Yeah, that's still pretty freaking awesome.
Oh yeah.
Considering and again, the rambling Star Wars fan has, I think, if I add it all up, might be 16.
Well, and they also started when they were kids. So they started when they were in 8th and 9th grade. So I'll give them a benefit of the doubt when they were in college and high school, but and then you can find John, who is not here, still on whatever missions. We'll get John back here one of these days. But the Best Car Bucket, or you can find him trooping as
Kylo Ren mainly.
Kylo Ren, or doesn't he have an officer? Does he have a
He does, but I don't think he troops as the officer
okay.
much as Supreme Leader Ren.
Supreme Leader, does he have, because he has both, right? He has the two, does he have both versions of Ren?
I think so.
Okay, so you can see Supreme Leader Ren, John Scalise, and his dad
and if not, I'll just call him that.
Yeah, I have a Kylo shirt that I was going to wear when John comes back. I have a Kylo shirt because you remember those books I bought?
Mm-hmm.
Like I got packs. I got them all. My collection is complete.
Nice.
So I'm gonna do a review of them. I'm just gonna go in order. Just start right down the line and just do the books. But
I got the Creedcast for you.
Yeah, you're probably right. But that's it's actually 100 books, but the one is the index, so that's kind of like a cheat. You know what I mean? But
hey, it counts. And with that kind of book, I'm surprised that they have an end.
Yeah.
With the amount of stuff that exists and or the amount of stuff that's continuing to be added to the story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe they'll have like yearly updates.
Oh, that'd be fun.
That fan home, like I don't get it. I paid them money. I don't get any money from them, but they do make some cool stuff. Like they make a build a Falcon model, they make a build an R2, and I think they make some other fandoms. Like I think there's an Iron Man suit somewhere, and I don't know, but they have some neat stuff. It's not. I wouldn't say it's cheap, but it's not crazy expensive if you don't think about it. Like you just,
Well, and if you actually, use it, and what I mean is, read through the stuff and enjoy the photographs that they capture in there.
I think that's what I like. Like we have so many pictures at our fingertips on the computer and stuff that it does seem different when you're actually forced to just like turn the page and look at them. Like maybe that's just an old person thing, but it is enjoyable that way. Like I always grab like when Life does their special magazines of like George Lucas, and then they'll do one like with just slightly different cover, and it's basically the same thing. I just enjoy looking at those.
Of course, because there might be the one photograph or the one quote that wasn't in the other one.
That wasn't in the other 300.
Yeah, like wait a minute, this is a picture of Hammerhead from a different angle in the cantina.
My belief in some of those is they start with a close-up, and then every issue they just crop it bigger, so you think you're getting a different picture, but it's the same exact picture.
Yeah, or they change the tone of it. Now with digital technology, they show you a sepia version, a black and white version, a colorized version.
Well, this is slightly off topic, but not really. I was teaching about the space race today, and the kids had to do like a little montage about an astronaut just to get them acquainted. And there's that picture of Neil Armstrong on the moon, in his full, like just kind of standing there. And when I was a kid, that was like my favorite photograph of all times when I was real little. Because my grandmother was a big moon person, so I had I lived at the end of moon fever and stuff. But that made me think of Star Wars. What's your favorite photograph? Not painting, like just still photograph of all the photographs you've seen.
Yeah, I can't pick a photograph, but there are a handful that come to my mind.
Well, what's the first one that comes to your? When I say favorite, it doesn't. I'm the same way, but like.
Well, one of my first
we're gonna frame one for you.
Like the one that immediately comes to my mind: photograph of George Lucas and a very early prototype of R2-D2, and he's got this funky vest, sweater, jacket on, and R2-D2. I'm pretty sure if my faulty memory serves me right, is like a wooden body. So that's one that comes to my mind, and it was during filming of A New Hope.
Mine is New Hope, and it's funny that you picked R2. Mine is him facing Anthony Daniels in the Tunisian desert. They use it for a lot of covers.
Yep.
That has been my favorite. I mean, again, all of them. When I see the stock camera photos of like Luke in his costume and Han and Chewie, there's a flood of memories. But that one with George Lucas with his kind of disheveled hair from the Tunisian wind,
Yep.
that's the one that always comes to mind.
And then the second one that comes to mind is really close to my heart and my shorts. Is the picture of Ken Darlingham filming in Tunisia, where he's wearing the pink shorts and he's holding the boom mic, and you've got this a great shot of the set and the props and the crew, and Ken's there in his tiny pink shorts. That one is another one that I will.
Is that one in Tunisia or is that the one in Death Valley?
That was in Tunisia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought that was also during the New Hope filming.
Well, but I mean, they shot when they looked over Mos Eisley. Some of that shot was from Death Valley. Yeah, that's a good shot. I always like that shot. I never noticed the guy in the shorts. It's just when you now when I see that picture, I instantly see him. But when I was a kid and I saw those shots, I was looking at the land speeder and so.
Then the other one that comes to mind is also in the Tunisian desert, except it's Liam Neeson dressed as Qui-Gon Jinn, wearing sunglasses, and somebody, I don't know if he's holding the umbrella or somebody else is holding a rainbow-colored umbrella over his head to give him a little bit of shade.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's a good one.
And there are literally hundreds of pictures that I could rattle off. Not like you said, not the formal ones, not the ones that were used in promotional things, but the behind the scenes ones. Yeah, there's a ton of them. Or the picture of this one was a promotional one. It was of George Lucas. I think it was after they filmed Return of the Jedi, and he's surrounded, like literally and figuratively surrounded by maquettes and props and costumes. And from what I heard, the rumor I heard is the setup for that photograph is one of the things that inspired George to really put a lot of emphasis into the archives.
Yeah.
To preserve all of those things.
And I think, I like that one. I like the one with him with the big camera. Like I think there's one with him in Tunisia with the camera that's like wrapped in plastic in parts. And then I think they redid that shot when they were doing Phantom Menace. Like it's a little older George doing with his big digital camera.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, that's remember they used to sell on TV those animal cards, like you would mail in and they would send you.
Yeah.
That's the next thing they need to sell me. That's the next thing someone needs to hook me on is like cards that I can have like a little card catalog of all my different creatures in the.
I mean, let's think about that for a second. If they were to do something like that, either for the creatures, I mean, just the animals alone, it could be a really big set. Or if you
animal ships, weapons.
Animal ships, weapons,
planets.
I mean, heck, we could just go through Kristen Baver's book of 100 items, and those sort of things. And there's two ways that you could play it, and it might even be on opposite sides of the card. So on one side, it has the in-universe description or the in-universe explanation of the thing, and then on the other side, so for instance, if you take Darth Vader's lightsaber or Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber or whatever, they tell you about it, and then on the other side it tells you what it was made of, or who built it, or
Ken, we got to pitch this. But that's because I remember they had those card sets when I was a kid of different animals. They were color coded. Like there was like land animals were one color, and if you ordered now, it came with a special plastic box that they
you bet, like a almost like that your grandparents would put recipes in.
Yeah, well then they had animals. Yeah, wow, that would.
Well, I mean, if I know Kristen listens to the show. If she could get us in touch with either Pablo Hidalgo or Leland Shee, shoot, we'll even write some of the content for the card.
Right. Yeah.
You know, make me responsible for all the insignificant characters. Make me responsible
Scissor
for the
Punch.
Yeah, exactly. Let me write the copy for Therm Scissor Punch 1,000,000%.
Now, in the Star Wars universe, you know how we have one-hit wonders, like music-wise?
Yeah.
There would be
Which
like
was just earlier this week.
Would there be like a one-hit wonder card? Like it would just be like the guy you only saw for a split second.
You bet. Constable Zuvio.
Yeah.
From
yeah.
Like I don't even think he was on the screen. They made a toy of him.
I think that's what they should do just to tick people off. They should come up with a Constable Zuvio show. That should be the next Star Wars Constable Zuvio. He could be like
Tales of Zuvio, like those short animated episodes that they were putting out.
Or they could make him like the Forrest Gump of Star Wars. Like just put it like remaster all the movies and put Constable Zuvio in every single one.
Just going through, because they did it with the special editions. I mean, they added all those extra things.
Yeah, just have like Constable Zuvio have him climb out of the escape pod when R2 and 3PO, you know.
Yeah, he just dusts himself off and runs in the other direction.
Yeah. So yeah, that's but anyway, yeah, that's our plugs. So we have 3 people already.
That's awesome.
Hopefully the chat is on. I assume Facebook is working. It says we're live on Facebook, and I really don't understand how Instagram works, but it appears that there's something happening on Instagram.
Well, one of the great things about cards like that, because then you could also expand it into, let's do a, do you remember National Geographic for Kids?
Yeah.
So there was the yellow magazine that was National Geographic, and I don't know if it was every month or every other month, they'd have a map insert. And then they did a thinner, larger print version for kids that also had posters inside.
And less nudity.
Yeah, less nudity, and also I think less violence. Period.
Yes.
Even if they were showing lions and tigers, I don't think they were showing them, mauling hyenas or anything like that.
Right.
But one of the great things about the National Geographic for Kids, at least for me, from what I remember, is I would often read that stuff to the adults that were around, and so I'd engage in conversations with them relative to whatever was in the magazine that month.
And then they had World Magazine.
Yes. Yep. Because that was also, I think they even did a scholastic version of that, so you could get thinner versions of it, like handed out during study hall or something in elementary or middle school, I thought. But with these cards, it would be a great way for adults and kids alike to go back and forth. Like, hey, did you know this about Constable Zuvio? The reason he wore that hat was to protect his skin from the desert in Jakku.
Right.
And he was this kind of alien, and ate bugs or whatever.
And what brings us to our topic of tonight is the childlike and child love of Star Wars and children and all that. I think exactly what you just said is why so many of those original Star Wars figures have such a place in everyone's heart, is because even though the names were terrible and all this, as kids, we knew the name of Snaggletooth, and the adult might not have known it. We knew that was a Tusken Raider, even though they said Sand Person. We knew that, like this, we knew the names of things before the adults knew.
Well, and we grew up with them. So as time progressed and those characters developed beyond just those toy names or the names on the card back, whether it was the West End games or the novels or some of the behind the scenes kind of things, those characters became more complete. There would be a snippet in a magazine about the Devronian or whatever it was. So as you grew up with Star Wars, you learned more about them.
Yeah.
And I think in some ways it kept Star Wars alive when they didn't have the movies on the screens all the time. You could bring it right back into into your living room and onto the bus, or at the lunchroom with your friends. Like, wait a minute, my snaggletooth looks different than yours.
Well,
Where
yeah,
did you get that one?
You got the tall one. You got the short one.
Hey, good to see you, man.
Oh, who's on?
Imperial.
Wait a minute. Is that rural?
Formerly known as Rural Farm Boy.
Yes, he's formerly. Yeah. Yes, there we go. So Ken wins. Ken was like, "Who's the first one that's going to chime in?" And
so
Ken
I'd like
won.
you can send the 5 credits to my post office box.
All right. Yeah. So that we talk about like, and honestly, when me and Savvy went to, Black Spire, Galaxy's Edge this summer, the it might be 57. Oh yeah. Well, I'm with you on that one, man. I'm close to it. But when we went to Black Spire, so we were just trying to fall asleep, Wait a minute, do I know? I don't. Oh, I think Ken, you're in charge. Oh no, maybe. I got it. There we go. I watched those kids shows of all the different creatures. The shorts. They had them on the TV in the room,
Yeah.
And I know that was made for someone like younger than most of my clothing, and it was just so much fun to watch.
Well, and on the other end of that, so we could say it was made for someone younger, maybe, and we can also say it was made by people. It was made by even a group of people. There was someone involved with the sound effects. There was someone involved in editing all the clips together. There was someone involved. Like when you read through those credits at the end, you get to see that as a proverbial army of people that are involved, even in these short things.
Yeah.
And so on one hand, I really think George Lucas and Walt Disney were similarly minded. And this is what I mean by that. Walt Disney, from what I remember, I wasn't around at the time, but what I remember is the rumor for one of the reasons why he created Disneyland and ultimately Disney World was to create this space where parents and children could do things together. Adults and children could experience fun and entertainment together. And when you look at Star Wars, it's very, very similar.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Because at least in there aren't a lot of kids that necessarily have as much. I mean, the money to go to a movie then is different than it is to go to a movie now. But
right,
we know that the parents were paying for the toys. The parents were paying for the movie tickets. The parents were getting the kids to the theater. And we also know that lots of adults were watching these space opera movies with the kids at the same time.
Oh yeah.
There wasn't like an after hours only adults viewing of the show, and the matinee was only the preteens. They were sitting in the same dark theater, listening to the same music, and cheering and hooting and hollering at all the same points.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I think, the comment of say Star Wars and the 14-year-old comes out, there are many, many people that I think that could very easily apply to. I mean, look at Steve Sansweet, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
The man with the Guinness Book of World Records largest personal collection of Star Wars memorabilia.
Right.
He's giddy like a school kid every time something new comes out. And he's at the place now where it's not even just the newly manufactured things.
Right.
People from around the world will send him art pieces or a 3D printed whatever and say, I thought you would like this for your collection.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, for me, it is something, and we both costume and troop or cosplay or what we want to call it. There is something that when I put on that costume, and I still get a big stupid grin on my face under my stormtrooper helmet every time I have that suit on. That is being a kid. Like I wish Matt was filming more scenes. I shouldn't say that because then I'll get a call tonight. Hey, we need to go film more. We'll find the coldest day, but I wish he was filming more because it was just so much fun being, and I wish there was more events and I'd get myself back into doing events more because I enjoy doing that. And it's our action figure play.
Yeah, you betcha. Where we become the toy.
Yeah.
And
I have more kind of more articulation. Depending on how rough of a week it was, then I'm just like the old action figure.
So you might have 7 points of articulation instead of just the basic 5.
Yeah.
At least you have kung fu grip. You can actually hold the variety of weapons and not just 1 or 2.
Yeah. I can hold them for a while. I think my neck is shrinking. That gives me less neck. I don't know what. I must just have worse posture than when I first started trooping because I feel like I'm like the old 77 toy where the stormtrooper's head is fused to the body. So when you look at the push, like when we were younger, you had all the movies and they were for kids and adults alike. I mean, other than Uncle and Aunt Veru getting extra crispy. I was so excited about that movie. I really didn't even see that scene. Like I saw the farm smoking, but it wasn't until either a second or third viewing once it came out on VHS or TV that I realized that was just extra crispy people,
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I was a youngster when that came out.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until much later. And to that end, I mean, let's think about the numbers of times that we've watched any of those movies.
Yeah.
And I think one of the strengths of those repeated viewings is we get to pay attention to different things with each viewing, whether it's paying attention to that one scene with Owen and Beru, or listening to the sound of the TIE fighter coming around, or listening to the hum of the lightsaber and trying to mimic it when we have our own wrapping paper tube in the living room.
Yeah.
Before we had access to force effects and NeoPixel lightsabers and all that kind of stuff, where stick worked.
Yeah. Well, and then you look. So we had the cartoons, the droids and Ewoks, and then we had the Ewok movies and all that. But then you fast forward all the way to the new stuff, and like Jedi Temple Challenge, to me is one of the most underrated Star Wars shows out there. Because I enjoyed watching it, and I know I was not the demographic that show was made for at all. And I was just like, oh man, I wish this show was on when my girls were little, or I would have been begging and pleading and trying to get my kids in on that show. And the kid shows, and the kids, even the droids and the Ewoks, but the shows, they do promote a goodness in people.
You betcha.
I mean, even all the movies do too, but even more so the kids shows. It was always like a lesson, Well,
shoot, look at the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
The Clone Wars started, and I think the phrase that they used to describe the little moral at the beginning, I think they called it a fortune cookie.
Yeah.
They started even before much of the action happened. They gave you a sense of what to look for in the episode.
Yeah, I loved that when I was watching that with Zoe when she was younger. When we started, that was like, I couldn't wait for the fortune cookie.
And it wasn't always, in the episode, it wasn't like a direct quote that you were listening for.
Right.
You actually had to really pay attention to the meanings of things, or the things that they were hinting at, and really attempt to figure out what they meant by it, whether it's about honor, or about integrity, or about maturity, those sort of things.
Right.
Even though, I mean, let's also be frank about it. There were some episodes of the Clone Wars where you would scratch your head and go, this is for kids? Like, they just had Darth Maul murder a Jedi with the horns on his head by impaling them. Or, there was an episode where I think it might have been Dooku, where Dooku killed a whole bunch of people really fast.
Yeah, I'm curious what all of that did to that generation of Star Wars kids. Like what, because that's a different type of kids show than what you and I grew up with.
Different, sort of.
No, I mean in a good way. It's almost like a more advanced level. You know what I mean?
Well, there's that, and I think the technology of the cartoon was more advanced, and I think the storytelling was a little bit more advanced too.
Well, I think when I was a kid, I think a lot of the storylines were easy to follow. Where I think the Clone Wars, like you said, the fortune cookie didn't exactly match up. Like if those fortune cookies were made when we were younger, it would be nice to your sister, and then there'd be an episode of someone being nice to their sister. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Like these were more like they were the thinking persons, the thinking kids, and it's also how we understand children.
Yep.
Like in the 60s and 70s, they were still thinking kids were just really dumb adults. You know, it wasn't till much later they realized that kids can handle sophisticated things.
And now we're realizing adults are really just dumb children.
Yes.
I mean, did I say it? Is that the right order? Maybe I'm getting it twisted. But the other thing that's interesting too, in comparison, when you look at the Droids cartoons and the Ewoks cartoons from the 80s, putting them side by side with the Clone Wars, you could even say the access was different. I mean, those cartoons in the 80s, they were presented on a platter on the weekends. So they were put at a time when kids were going to be watching them, sitting in the living room with a bowl of cereal, watching Saturday morning cartoons.
It was appointment television.
Yes. Whereas the Clone Wars, first of all, you had to have cable.
Yep.
So not everybody could watch them. Then you had to have the channel that it was on, because not every area had Disney XD or whatever it was.
I think it started on Cartoon Network, which was the original.
And I think the Jendi Tartakovsky or Tartansky, those were there, and I think the first couple seasons of Clone Wars were on that. Then they shifted to Disney XD. Then they went to Netflix.
Yeah.
You know, so being able to watch them as kids wasn't as easy for Clone Wars versus Droids, and they gave a lot more room to Clone Wars than they gave to Droids. I think they canceled the Droids cartoon after one season, and they canceled Ewoks after 2.
Yeah.
Because they were on regular primetime television and not some of these other things. And from the rumor I heard, I don't know if it was Clone Wars or Rebels, I think it might have been Clone Wars, George and the makers, made them and then went to find somebody that would air them, instead of the company coming to George and saying, "Oh, would you make these cartoons for us?"
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when Clone Wars came out, because it was big. I have the TV guide somewhere floating around here, and the interviews with Dave and all that when they first started. That's when Zoe introduced me to Dave Filoni, because she saw him on the DVD. I was like, "Who?
Your life hasn't been the same since."
Who's that guy with a weird hat? And when he was interviewed, the first one, he's in his chair like this, like spinning like this, like, you know. And they took you through, and I mean, yeah, it's. And just that the what is it, the Young Jedi Adventures, which are as watchable as anything else on television. Like when I first saw it, I was like, well, I'm probably not going to enjoy it. And I watched like the whole season. I was like, yeah, this is pretty good. You know, I mean, it's a little Dora the Explorer where you have like little children swinging lightsabers and flying ships, but it's very reminiscent of like a Dora the Explorer or...
True, but how old was Ahsoka when she showed up in Clone Wars?
Yeah, but these guys seem much younger than that, don't they?
Define much, because I think Ahsoka might have been 14.
Yeah, I'm thinking these kids are like 9. They just come across to me as like 9.
But they still have been given a license to fly ships. And Master Yoda sends them on missions. I
I
mean,
know. So
come on.
but that's what I'm saying. But
it
that's
is funny to think about that way.
that is the fun. Well, it's like Dora the Explorer. Where was her parents? One person's superhero, Dora the Explorer, is the other person's bad parent.
Latchkey
Latchkey Jedi's.
Latchkey Jedi's.
So, yeah, and I think of like the books, like the Imperial Activity said something about listening to the radio dramas, but remember those books, the books that I
Books
have
on
here,
vinyl.
and the vinyl and all that, where you
The
get your little
read-along.
record. I had that little orange record player that took I think 4D batteries. You put the little 45 in and it closed it, and it had this crappiest speaker on top. And I would listen to my
I don't even know if it was a speaker. It might have been the bottom of a tin can. Like, it just sounded.
It was like the professor from Gilligan's Island built it.
Yeah, 2 coconuts and a fork.
Yeah. What's to say? I gotta put it big print here.
Yeah, she was 14.
Yeah. But
let's think about this. So you mentioned the storybook. So there were stories that existed outside of the Star Wars universe, like the bounty hunter on Ord Mantell, or the story of the Hoob Jibs and the Ewok stuff. And you could even say that there was more basic stuff than that. I mean, think about the number of coloring books and activity books there were.
Yeah.
Do you remember when dot to dots were a thing?
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Well, the other thing is, so I had this book, and I wish I wouldn't have got rid of it. It was Tomart's Guide to Star Wars Collecting. It came out in, I would say 93, 94. And it just had pages, black and white, of every single Star Wars item they made. And they made, they made everything. I mean, and the reason those toys did well is because the movies were good, but also because the parents and the kids both liked it. Like, I love my kids, and I try to get them whatever they want, but my budget mind thinks mighty different when it's Star Wars or not Star Wars. Like, it's just not even on purpose. They'd be like, "Oh, I need a new helmet." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, but then if it's something else, I'm like, "Well, how much does that cost?"
I want to go see Taylor Swift.
Well, yeah, I can't afford.
Let's think back to those early things. So the coloring books, couple bucks. The action figures, the 3 3/4 action figures, that today, if you had them, they're selling in the thousands, plural. They were like $2.99, $1.99,
$1.59 when I was getting them. Because I remember when they went up to $1.99, my grandmother was like, "Whoa, hold the brakes." My grandmother was irritated that the Jawa cost $1.59 and Chewbacca cost $1.59. Like, she didn't understand this. She's like, "Wait, this one costs the same as this one?"
Where now you've got the Black Series figures that a set of the droids is $50, or Paz Vizsla is like $37 or $38 or something like that. And they're still doing the coloring books. They're still doing the activity books.
Oh yeah.
Just not at the same scale as they were.
Okay, so look, in I shouldn't say 77. I should say 78, because the figures weren't here. $1.99 in 1978 calculates out to $9.83 today.
Yeah, and you can't get a 3 3/4 inch figure for $9.99 unless it's on clearance.
Well, they have that new line of figures that are like but
even those are $12.78.
Right? No, not those. I know which ones, but there's ones they come in a little plastic box. They sell at Five Below for $5.
Oh yeah, so it's like this.
Yes, $5.
So the accessories are molded into the hand.
Yeah.
This has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This has her legs don't bend. She just moves at the waist. So it's
Oh.
1, 2. She only has 4 points of articulation.
Yeah. I saw those the other day. I was like, oh, that looks cool. And then I was like, oh, I don't need one more little thing to buy.
You always need one more little thing.
No. I did get the Ahsoka giant pin, whatever that pin company, that makes
pin?
the real big heavy pins that you're
The
really not
enamel
gonna ever
ones or
pin
whatever?
on anything. They had Ahsoka in there last time I was at Five Below.
I haven't been to a Five Below in a while.
Yeah, that's where
Lately,
I
I've been
got
checking
that's where
out.
I got my wrecker pin.
I've been checking out Ollie's. Ollie's has had a whole bunch of stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. I can't. I've been slowly getting rid of the little stuff. So
Yeah, I keep saying I'm not going to get anything, and then just this weekend I came home with enough of the Figure and Dan toys that created an entire Cantina band.
well, there you go. See, that's all right though.
No, it's not. I truly need I need a chaperone. Anytime when I'm not at work and I'm not at home, I need somebody with me saying no, like legitimately saying no, because I will rationalize it and end up, well, this one's on sale. I mean, this I'm getting this. I would be a fool not to buy
I'm
this.
making money on this thing. No, well, but that brings us back to the childhood though, because I do remember like getting that figure, and like my grandmother, you couldn't open it in the car. Like that was just like, because you'd lose so you're just riding home looking at that figure, like couldn't wait to open it. And then I saved all the cards, and then lucky me, they had that Boba Fett thing. And so my grandmother helped me cut out the circle. They were like the Kenner emblems were little round circles. So I cut out all the little circles and sent them in and got my Boba Fett. So
yeah, and they did that during the Clone Wars. They had some of those mail-in.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Those mail-in figures, but they haven't done it in a long time.
Yeah, the first one I restarted was when I got Han Solo in Stormtrooper armor. The Power of the Force. It was in cereal, and you could limit of 3. So I got 3 sent to my house, 3 sent to my grandparents' house, 3 sent to my in-laws' house. So,
it's like BMG cassette thing.
Well, they were cool because that was one where it was send 3 in and you got them. It wasn't like friends send 3 in and postage. It was like send so many. So we were eating like Rice Krispies and forever, And then they did the advanced ones. They did, was it? I don't know if they were pre-orders.
Delicious Crumb, wasn't it?
Yeah, but there was a pre-order. I'm thinking of the pre-orders. They had Mace Windu and the droid on the air scooter or something like that.
The STAP or whatever it's called.
Whatever that one that is flying
from the Phantom Menace.
Yeah, from the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And they did. Wait, didn't they do the dancer from the green girl in Return of the Jedi that got eaten by the
That's
Rancor?
Ula.
Didn't they do some kind of mail order for her too?
Yeah, it was her. It was her and Salacious Crumb.
Yeah,
and it came in a small rectangular box, no card back or anything.
I liked those boxes better at the time. But all of that stuff reminded me of just as a kid. It's the action figures still to this day. Like I just like looking. I just like even if I know I don't have the problem you have, Ken, but I still like going in Target and pulling it off the rack and looking at it.
Keeps getting bigger.
And you're gonna have to raise the roof or something or lower the floor.
Get rid of the furniture, and unfortunately too. And please, when I say I'm complaining about this, it's not really a complaint.
I know
that Princess Leia figure that's up there.
Yeah.
One of my friends sold me a bunch of his 12-inch figures from when he was younger.
Right.
So it's some of the ones that are like up here, where it's like you see Boba Fett up next to Hey Hey.
Yeah.
He sold me the whole Bounty Hunter set. So now Heather is convincing me that we have to get, all of the princess ones. Plus, if you look over there, there's Bo-Katan up there. So it's seemingly never ending.
Well, I was just at the Disney store in Lancaster, and they had Fennec, Sabine, and Hera all on sale.
The 12-inch ones?
Yeah, the new ones.
Wow.
I think I want to say, I don't know what they were.
Yeah, we don't have a Hera. I know that.
But the Sabine was nice. But Zoe, she was with me before she left. She's like, all right, I already made my own Sabine. So I was like, okay, And the new Sabine bothers Zoe because she's in the brown jumpsuit. Because they made that from that color corrected picture. So I raised my kids well. So
it's all about perspective.
And the hair is pretty nice too. But yeah, that's just a kid in all of us. I mean, I Star Wars T-shirts are the same way.
Yeah, I have an abundance of those too. Even to the point where I have some of them where I can't believe I'm going to admit this out loud in public. I have some that currently are beyond my stature. So I've become huskier than I was when I originally bought them. So that I can't even wear them. But I keep saying I'm going to fit in that shirt again. And so if I can fit in that shirt again, then I want to have that shirt again.
Yeah. I went through a stage where I was buying all of them, and then I was like, I don't think I'm really going to wear the Star Wars construction stormtroopers sitting on a metal beam. It looked really cool in the store.
I have that one.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, and I have that one I've never worn that much, but I was buying them for a while because a lot of those stormtrooper shirts were 501st pictures. They weren't really? Even like there's one with Chewie holding up a glove, like a sports,
the foam finger.
That's Marty's Chewie. He's like, look, that's my mask, and he was pointing out that's one of his old Chewie masks because it doesn't look like Chewbacca, And there's a couple stormtroopers. There's 2 stormtroopers on Tatooine, and they're in FX armor. Well, FX armor was never used by Lucasfilm, so But yeah, it's the shirts and the helmets. Like honestly, if I could get rid of all my little stuff and replace it with helmets, I still want a wall of clone helmets.
Yeah, because there's so many of them.
Yeah, I just
Well, and that's the other thing that I think is fun about Star Wars specifically is, yes, there's the play aspect of it. You get the figures, or you advance into the costuming and you dress like them. Then there's the other side of that where it's the creative side of it. So you can have a just phase 1 clone trooper, white helmet with the black visor, or you can take that same phase 1, decorate it differently, and now it's this member of this brigade or this legion or whatever, and then you go into phase 2 and so on, and before you know it, you might have 6 clone helmets,
right?
But because they're all individualized, so the never-ending creativity, the never-ending play is possible. And I think when they were originally building the toys, so when Jim Swearingen and all the folks from Kenner were creating the toys, they had this phrase called toyetic. And it was, what is the replay value of this kind of thing? Is this something that kids are going to fiddle with for a little bit and then just throw it away? Or is it something that's going to bring them back again and again and again? And the action figures for me definitely brought it back again and again and again, because I would create stories that didn't exist in the movies.
Right.
Or with us dressing up in costume. Now it's not just us being on the Millennium Falcon. It's meeting Grandma and little Julie at the library.
Right.
And getting a picture that they're going to use as a Christmas card.
Yeah.
And I think in some ways, one of the many things that does make me sad about the current state of Star Wars is that fun aspect of it is in some ways being replaced by the capitalism aspect of it. Like, how can I individually reap financial reward off of said thing, whether it's I'm going to make 100 of these helmets and sell them at a premium price, or I'm going to go into Five Below, buy every figure on the rack for $5 each, and then go on eBay and sell them for $50 each.
Yeah. That was my gripe when the what was the helmet, the Trapper Wolf helmet.
Trapper Wolf
Remember
helmet.
those?
Well, I remember telling you the story of what happened at our store. That we have an Ollie.
They bought didn't you say someone bought the whole flat?
No, he wanted to. Yeah, he showed up on the day that they were supposed to be in stock with a rented van. He was going to go in. The person was going to go, and the only reason I know this is because the store manager told me the story. He said the guy came in with saying, "I want to buy all of them. I have a van out front. Can you just have someone help me put these in my truck?" And the manager said, "No, not today. I will sell you 2 of these things." He didn't have to. The manager didn't have to do that, and he chose to sell that guy 2 so that other people could also get them.
Yeah,
for $30 each instead of $150 each.
Yeah. Well, and here to segue, there's the Black Series Sabine helmet on the end. Since we're talking toys, this is the toy. This is about as small a toy as I'll get. It's a pretty nice helmet.
And it's amazing to me that sort of stuff now is, it's in stores that folks can go. It's not like, you can only get it at a big metropolitan toy store, or you have to send away for it or whatever. There are GameStops in, most areas nowadays.
Well, and GameStops and stores like them have kind of moved into the toys, because toys are now, just like you were saying, toys are not now for kids anymore. So you go into a GameStop and it's not the GameStop of 2 years ago. It's all kinds of collectibles and T-shirts.
And that word to me is interesting. The C word.
Yeah.
Collectible. When we were kids, when we were youngsters, those things were legitimately called toys.
Right.
And Jim and his crew used to say that they were they were in the landfill business because they were so inexpensively made, and they didn't necessarily kids didn't necessarily hold on to them for long. Now you throw the word collectible on it, and a box of Oreo cookies with Star Wars heads on there is now a collectible, and people will go to the store, buy it with the idea of keeping it on a shelf or keeping it in a container from now until the end of time.
Yeah.
Which I'm right up there with you, because many of the collectibles I have, many of the toys I have 2 versions of. There's the one in the box, and there's the one that I open and I play with.
You have the collectible, and then you have the inventory.
Yes. Yeah.
I used to be that way too with when Phantom Menace came out. I wasn't that way with the first ones, but when the Phantom Menace came out, I was just buying like that. I was like, well, I'm going to buy one to open. I'm going to buy one to display. And I just overbought. And when the girls were little, I showed them my old action figures, and any ones they didn't want, I put on eBay, got money, and bought them new. We would just go. Remember the heyday of? I think the heyday of the kids' toys was the Clone Wars, because they would come out with weekly, like action figures. Like, here's the play set from some one episode.
You betcha. And it wasn't even a small play set. There was the one, I thought it was like a transport, and it opened up into this ginormous play set. Well,
it came with there'd be Goldie. Remember Goldie, the droid that replaced R2 for a little bit? He was in 2 episodes. When that episode aired, the next week it was in the store hanging on the pegs. You could run in and get the things.
Which is wild, because that doesn't happen that way anymore. I mean, even when the Acolyte was out, I don't remember there being Acolyte toys in the store. It wasn't until after the season was over that I found the Black Series Acolyte toys.
Right. Well, and I wonder if that new line of $12.99 figures is trying to push the toys back down to the kids.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I found that I always anything usually Sabine or droids, I might pick up for one of the girls, like a droid for Safi, Sabine for Zoe. And I saw that, and I don't think she had seen it in the wild yet, so I just sent it to her, because it was a simple action figure.
Yeah, simple action, and there are even two price points below that, or two styles below that. So I don't even know the name of it.
The Five Below ones.
No, there's these Disney ones.
Yeah, that's the Sabine one I got her.
So there's those. Then there's I don't have it here. I put them away. The Mission Fleet figures, and those are probably 2 inches tall. And then they have the even smaller ones, the micro ones, where the figure is got to be an inch or so.
That's from the old.
Are so cool.
They made a whole series of those. I got to find a picture. My old Star Wars room in my first house. Me and Missy got married, so in '94, I had a Star Wars room, and I built special shelvings for those micro machines like that.
Yep.
And they had like TIE fighters, TIE bombers, TIE interceptors, all that stuff. They have. I used to have the Bantha for them. They came out with a Bantha, like a little furry Bantha, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I mean they've got the Ghost, they got the Millennium Falcon,
that Ghost is really nice. Like that Ghost that's tempting me every time I walk in the stupid store.
There's the Ghost, and then there's the smaller ship, the escape pod kind of ship that they also sell that fits into the Ghost.
Yep. Yeah, I'm like, I walk by that. I'm like, if that thing goes down like $1, I'm probably going. I'm just like, well, it's not on sale. It's not on sale. And if it's, because that to me, that's a beautiful ship to hang. I could hang it. It's a nice display. Yeah.
I'm just funny, like you said, we can rationalize that stuff. But this weekend I was out and about with Heather running errands. I'm like, I think I need a couple new, because I don't have to dress up for work, but I do have to wear business casual. So slacks and a button down shirt, not a golf shirt, but full buttons top to bottom. And I'm looking at a dress shirt for $35. I'm like, $35 for a shirt? Are you stupid?
Well, that's what I busted my shoe today at work, and I was like, I'll just glue it. You know what I mean? I'll just glue it.
But yeah, so I will buy 3 action figures for $40, but I won't buy a $34 shirt for work.
Yeah, the late thing of the toys. But again, I think what has hurt toys is they never get in the hands of children. Like my kids remember the Clone Wars toys, but that's about it. Like I think my kids were probably on the last end of that that type of toy stuff.
Well, and you can even see the focus of the merchandise based on the commercials. So when we were kids, they would have kids playing with the toys like Wampa Wampa Wampa. They have out in the backyard and all that kind of stuff. The most recent commercial I've seen for any Star Wars anything was the Jabba playset.
Yeah, okay.
And that Jabba playset commercial was like, and you'll get 75 little cups and glasses, and they showed it from all these different angles.
The
throne room. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So and there wasn't a kid to be seen, and it was.
And what kids really want 70 pieces to get sucked up in the vacuum cleaner?
Yes, exactly. And I think
make your vacuum sound like a popcorn machine.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't see toy commercials, though, at least Star Wars toy commercials, like they had for Clone Wars or like they had.
Well, and the plus side to some of the toys is the Young Jedi Adventures. Those toys are really neat because they're like 2, 3, 4-year-old toys. They're remember I forget what the Star Wars figures were.
Adventure People.
Yeah, whatever those ones that came out in the 90s or 2000s. Like they came in a bubble pack of 3. Like it was usually like a little guy like a Yoda, and then he might be a stormtrooper and a clone or something like that. And my girls loved those because they could like shove a bunch in their pockets when they were real little. I didn't have to worry about them choking. Nothing came off of them. They made a nice ghost for that. You can't find that anywhere. They made a ghost of those too.
Oh wow, I don't remember that line. But actually, that brings up an interesting point because we had said that there's the Black Series, the 3 3/4, the Mission Fleet, and then those Micro Machines and the Young Jedi Adventures. That's another Galactic Heroes.
Galactic Heroes. That's what it is.
That's what it is. But those Young Jedi Adventure toys, they're all now on clearance. Like everything from the play set to the spaceship. Was it the Crimson Hawk or something like that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I got the X-Wing with nubs in it. And
regular nubs, not Darth nubs.
No, regular nubs. So yeah, let me see. Let me show if I can show you this. Hang on. Yeah, look. Let me see.
Oh yeah.
See that?
I forgot about that.
But yeah, that I mean, that's just a lot of fun. When I was a kid, before the action figures came out, there was a hamburger chain called Burger Chef. Do you remember them?
Yep.
They had the Star Wars, like the kids' meals. They didn't come in Happy Meal boxes. They came in like a tray, like it was a cardboard tray that had punch outs, and you would stick your drink in it, and your burger and your fries. And they made Star Wars ones. I remember having to go to Burger Chef, begging my grandmother to take me to Burger Chef so I could get one of those. And then we had Turkey Hills around here, which are like 7-Elevens or Wawas. They had slushy cups with Jawas on it, and I had to get a slushy with a Jawa. So
I think the only Therm Scissor Punch thing that I've seen was from Denny's.
Yeah, I have the Denny placemats framed somewhere. We got ours. That's when we drove across country to California, and we were in a Denny's, right? I forget what state, but it was an Indian reservation, and we were in a Denny's at either at an Indian or right on the border, and I remember that's where we got some cups, and we got the placemat. I said, "Can I keep the placemat?" And the lady looked at me like something was wrong with me. So,
and the answer to both of those things is yes. Yes, you can keep the placemats, and yes, something is wrong.
Yes. So,
and I do, as overly simplistic as this sounds, I wish there was a way to get back to that curious appreciation of Star Wars, that admiration of the fun, that admiration of the creativity, the admiration of the lesson that might be tucked into this show that we're watching, instead of whether it's the argument about who shot first, or which director is best, or which composer had the most classic move or music. Instead of getting into that, just enjoying it and having fun with it.
Yeah. Well, and just maybe everyone needs to get a friend and do a podcast every Wednesday night. Yeah. And talk Star Wars.
That could be, or have friends join us for the talk about Star Wars.
Yeah, no, I mean you're exactly right. It's what you build, and it's what's I've said this before. If Star Wars is bringing you pain, right, reach out and watch something else.
Well, I agree with you, and I'll go one step further. If Star Wars is causing you pain, and or you're using Star Wars to cause pain on others. So for instance, is it fair to say that you like dressing up as a stormtrooper?
Of course I do.
Okay. doesn't make any sense for me to say, Mike, I think you're a jerk for dressing up like a stormtrooper. I can't believe that you, a grown man, would put on plastic armor. It's not even armor. We can't even call it plastic. Put on plastic pieces of plastic to look like a toy. I can't believe you would do that. You must be a special kind of stupid.
Yeah.
Like, how about I might not dress like a stormtrooper, but I think it's awesome that you do. I think it's great that, I mean, I saw people standing in line to get a picture with this math teacher, the science teacher, this middle school teacher from, Nowhereville, Pennsylvania.
Yep. Yeah, no, I mean, you're exactly right. Just find your enjoyment or move on. As the stormtrooper says, move along. If it's not for you, move along. Like, that's, I guess I just don't understand. It feels like we always are just standing here befuddled by this, but it does befuddle me that if you say you're sitting in a pool of urine, why would you stay in it? Just move to another swimming pool. You know what I mean? Like it's.
And that's why I do count my lucky stars to have crossed paths with you. I feel very, very lucky that we have folks like Imperial Activity who will join us from time to time,
Yeah,
and get involved in the conversation from not a place of conflict, not a place of bragging, not a place of being better than anyone, but from an appreciation of the creativity and fun that has been offered to us since 1970 plus.
yeah, and it's still being offered today.
Yes.
Again, I would recommend anyone if you're a Star Wars fan, watch the Young Jedi Adventures. Maybe that's what people need to do. Maybe the people that are a little grumpy, watch one of the things for children, and it might like the Grinch's heart got melted when he heard the little Who's
It grew
singing.
3 sizes that day.
That's what I'm saying. Like maybe that's what they need. Like maybe they've forgotten.
Or let's go one step further. This has the potential to sound creepy, and I apologize ahead of time. Watch Star Wars with a kid.
Yeah, preferably a kid. Don't just randomly steal a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Timmy, you want to get in the van?
No, but I mean, you're exactly right. Maybe that's why I like Star Wars so much. Maybe that's one of the reasons, because my kids loved it, and we sat and talked. Like me and Zoe Missy just laughs at us because she's like, we just start talking about that. Get back to, wait a minute, I don't know what that
Could all get back to the good times.
Oh, is that what that means?
Yeah. Those kind of times. Yeah, 100%. And that's why I think it's important for knuckleheads like us to continue to do that, to continue to show that, to continue to keep that fire burning of appreciation. So whether it's reading a book by Kristen Baver, or
that's like 4 times you said her name, so
in one show. I'm trying to figure out a way of getting a chance to interview her about her books. And I know she listens to the show, so just putting it out there that that I would love to get a chance to interview her. But to create that place where fun is okay, to create that place where or to foster that place of appreciation and curiosity, and even as wild as it sounds, acceptance. I mean, there are some of these things I watch, and I do scratch my head going, that was an interesting choice. And I tune into the next episode. I turn the page. I can't even tell you the number of books I've read in the last few years that I was surprised that, like, many of them were actually turned out to be romances. I'm not a reader of romance.
No, you don't pick up any books with Fabio on the cover.
No, but you put a lightsaber on the front, Quinlan Voss and Ventress, and I'm subscribing to that.
Well, I think of some of the books I've read that I read just due to my daughters asking me to. Like, I never would have thought I would have read the Padme book. That was a good book.
Yeah.
And the Quinlan Voss, and I read that just due to recommendations from Sal, and some of the comic book. I don't know, just I just be a kid. Love Star Wars. Wear a shirt that's 2 sizes too small. No, I'm just kidding. I always think about that because when they did Zoe's episode of our Star Wars story, I had to wear a licensed shirt. Like I was wearing like a shirt that we picked up at a troop one time. They're like, "Yeah, you can't wear that, right? Did you have any licensed Star Wars shirt?" It was cold. The only one I had was a size too small. I looked like I'm packed in a sausage. I'm like, "Oh man, really?"
Yeah, just keep the fun alive.
Yeah. Well, and anyone that has armor, and I'm just as guilty of this just because I've just been busy and my kids moved away and I'm in a sad mood that I don't get to troop with my kids. But troop, like if you feel like you're down on trooping, like if trooping is not as fun as it used to be, before you give up on it, just troop and just have fun. Smile under that mask. And if the movie's got you down for whatever reason, like Ken said, find it, watch it with a relative that's younger. Have a conversation with someone who loves Star Wars. If they start with those negative whatever, then don't talk to them about Star Wars. Talk to them about, I don't know, estate planning or something.
And if you need someone to put into your will to accept all of your Star Wars collectibles, I will gladly share my name and address with you. So
well, and also, which gives us another out. Don't forget, we are still trying to raise money for our inflatable Falcon. I think we're going to have to do a Magic Jump special edition episode soon.
Yeah, that could work. Well, we still haven't done an episode about the Falcon.
You mean the actual Millennium Falcon or the inflatable?
Yes. Falcon? Well, all of it.
Okay, so maybe that's our next show. I'll get one of my one of 99 books, and I think I have blueprints of the Falcon, which have changed over the years.
You bet.
Because those little circles on top at one point that are vents now, I think they were supposed to be escape pods.
Well, maybe. And how many times has it had a different satellite dish on there?
Yeah. Well, I think that's because they were driving it like Safi drives a minivan. Her minivan looks like it was driven through the Death Star.
Through the Mao and the Kessel Run.
She did Needle's method of
yeah, we should never ever let Needles on the inflatable Falcon.
Yeah, Needles. I forget. Yeah, but no. I mean, we should do a Millennium. We should definitely do a Millennium Falcon. Though I will tell you, the Ghost is starting to creep up on one of my favorite ships now.
You can have more than one favorite ship.
I know, but I mean, like I always thought, look, if I could ever have like my own ship, I would want the Millennium Falcon. And then I'm looking at the Ghost, and maybe it's because I've been looking at all these World War II bombers, and that Ghost cockpit looks even more World War II-ish than the Falcon. And maybe because I've flown the Falcon so many times poorly at Galaxy's Edge.
Well, and I mean, let's also explore the fact that we probably minutes on screen have spent more time in individual episodes in Rebels than we've seen the Falcon.
That's true. And maybe it's because I haven't got my generic table done yet that it's really irritating me.
That could be it.
That's that could be part of it. My Rocketeer helmet that I was just going to spray paint gold and hang on the wall, I've realized I can't just let things go. So let's end with Costume Corner, Ken. We've done an hour and 13. We're getting back to our old ways. We have to come back to our shortened ways. But let's end up with Costume Corner. Ken, are you working on anything at the moment?
Today, no. But I do have plans to help Heather with her aliens costumes.
Oh, nice.
I also managed to find a blaster that you sent to me.
Nice.
It was in a random box, and I didn't even remember that I had it. So I got that I'm going to work on, and my custom Post Imperial Mando.
I think the helmet Safi's working on is one. What's the one with the diamond in the front on the forehead?
Is that the Protector?
Yeah, that's the one she's working on. Cool. I'm still working on Vader. A little bit closer. I got the belt boxes are done. They just need Hopefully
Speaking
one
of
last.
which,
Huh?
do you remember the movie Batteries Not Included?
No.
Really?
Well, you have to tell me. I might remember the movie if you.
So it's this movie about a bunch of people living in this building that's the landlord is trying to kick them out of the building so that they can build luxury condos and apartments around it, and they refuse to leave. And they were visited by aliens, and the aliens were these little robots, and the aliens helped the people living in that building save their building.
This had to be built in the 80s, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and ILM was involved in the special effects and everything. But Heather recently picked up a copy of what's the magazine Starlog.
Oh,
She
yeah.
picked up a copy of Starlog with those robots in it, and I was wondering if you knew where I could get a set of the 3D plans for those robots.
Well, let me see. Hang on.
And the movie was Batteries Not Included.
What do they look like?
Give me a few moments. They look actually similar to some of the robots in Young Jedi Adventures.
Now it's 3D print time. Is that them? No.
Yes, that's them.
That's them?
The ones at the top are them.
Yeah, these.
So the answer is yes. Okay.
So now they cost $42.72 for the file. But that's just the first one I found. So
Yeah.
here we go. What's this? Oh, here's Colts. What's this? $24 for the file.
Okay. So they do exist. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So they were like these. It was the dome, and then just these two spindly legs and stuff like that.
Oh, that's
and the
cool.
legs folded up, and they floated. They flew
kind
around.
of they have a pit droid vibe.
Yes, or the what's the other droid? Not from Young Jedi Adventures. No, maybe it is a droid from Young Jedi Adventures.
Yeah, it's just like it looks like an R2 dome with 2 feet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have one of those here for you next time I see you.
Oh, okay.
Printed. So.
Yeah, I keep forgetting to make my way to Pennsylvania.
Yeah, this summer kind of disappeared quick.
And how about you? Other than Vader, what else you're working on?
Let me see. I have Vader. I'm working on it. I started working on the Stormtrooper armor stand up. So I'm just trying to clear my garage out. So I have a set of old Stormtrooper armor that's old FX armor. So I have a mannequin that I'm cutting the back out, and then you'll just be able to go and put your head in front of it.
Oh, that's cool.
In front of it, so it looks like you're wearing armor, and then I'm going to have him holding the helmet because it's not armor that could really be used for anything. And it was given to me, so I'm just gonna. My hardest thing is I wound up giving Zach my old boots, and I'm kicking myself because I need a pair of boots to put over the feet, and I'm like So I've been looking for Chelsea boots in black or white to paint. So
gotcha.
But that's it. I'm just clearing my garage. I got a bunch of stuff. Marty was clearing his garage, so he sent me a bunch of stuff, and then so now I'm trying to clear out. Like I got a chopper. I got 3/4 of a chopper. I just need to print his legs. I have the body and the head.
Oh, that's very cool.
So I just have to get done with that.
Well, thanks for another playful episode.
Yes, thank you for everyone that stayed tuned. Our next episode will be the Millennium Falcon. So if you're a Falcon episode,
Little Layla's Lola looks like batteries not included droid. That's a good point.
That's true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. 1,000,000%.
I just picked up a Lola for like $5. So, yeah, that's I forgot all about. I'm gonna have to revisit. I think I got to revisit Kenobi.
So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna revisit Rebels.
Oh yeah, well, see, Rebels is one of those ones where we used to watch it 2 and 3 times because that was like Zoe's jam. So we would watch it like for all the time. So
long live the Empire.
Long live the Empire, man. There's my intro.
Till the Spires.
All right, where's my outro? There we go. All right, all. Thank you all for watching, and may the force be with you, Ken. They can find you where?
The Inflatable Falcon, Rambling Star Wars Fan, and Bounty Hunting Across the Galaxy with Todd and Ken.
All right, and me here, and I work on Zoe's podcast, Star Wars Geek Girl. John's is Beskar Bucket. Check him out. Send him a message. Tell him to come back on Wednesdays when he's not busy. And also check out the Rogue Rebels podcast. Zoe was just on. They did a wonderful job talking comics. So I will talk to you all later. Ken, I'm going to put us out.
May the force be with you.
May the
always.
Force be with you. All right.
Starships, but then my Falcon's hyperdrive just slipped. I used to worry about the future, but then I threw my caution to the wind. I had no reason to be carefree, no, until I took a trip to the treetop side of town. Yeah. You know I heard that wicked rhythm. Hey, I had no choice but to get down, dance. Woo! There's nothing left for me to do but dance. All these bad times I'm going through, just dance. Got cash in my heels tonight, baby.
No disrespect to my man here, but you ready for the real deal, superstar?